Very special greetings to all the esteemed members of the Asia-Pacific Group from India, a country which is known for its very strong democratic roots. Most humbly and respectfully, I must say that as Vice President of the IPU ExCom, it gives me immense pleasure, and I consider it to be my privilege to brief you regarding the happenings in the Executive Committee meeting, the 294th Executive Committee meeting, which was held on 11th and 12th October in Geneva. Mr. Dick, Honorable Speaker of Australia, as member of the Executive Committee, was there with me, and Mr. Fadli John, who is not present here, from Indonesia. He had joined us online. He's also not present today. Friends, out of 17 members, 15 had attended the Executive Committee meeting and gave their valuable suggestions. My esteemed colleagues from the 35 countries of the Asia-Pacific region, I think we are all well aware of the IPU tagline, for democracy, for everyone. I think this says all. We are also aware of the 5 strategic objectives of the Inter-Parliamentary Union. Number 1, as you know, building effective and empowered parliaments, promoting inclusive and representative parliaments, supporting resilient and innovative parliaments, catalyzing collective parliamentary action, and number 5, strengthening the IPU's accountability. And I'm delighted to mention here that within the framework of these 5 strategic objectives and the IPU tagline, there was very fruitful discussion in the Executive Committee, and about 19 agenda items had been taken up for discussion, and all the esteemed members gave their very good views. Friends, please allow me some time. It's very important for you all to know what transpired in the Executive Committee meeting. The main objective of the meeting was to discuss the activities of the IPU. Very important for all of us to know what's happening in the IPU. And to finalize the agenda of the Governing Council to be held in this 149th IPU at Geneva. Program of the General Assembly to be held here, which commences from today, was also discussed and ratified, approved by the Executive Committee members. It is pertinent to mention here that the last Executive Committee of the IPU was held on 19th of June 2024, and as a continuation on 18th of July 2024, summary of the records of this Executive Committee was also ratified by the Executive Committee members. I'm very happy to mention here that our President, Madam Tulia Axon, toured around 15 nations during the past couple of months, and she was kind enough to talk about her activities in these 5 nations, and she did mention that the specific goals of the IPU had been kept in mind by her when she had a dialogue with the representatives of different nations. Her visit was highly meaningful, and whatever she did since the 213th session of the Governing Council was mentioned. The Secretary General, I'm delighted to welcome our President, Madam Tulia Axon. We were just mentioning about you, Madam. We were just mentioning about you, Madam, and the commendable work that you have done during the past few months as the President who took over in the 213th Governing Council. Now, the Secretary General also gave an update on the activities of the IPU, and he also did give a report on the status of implementation of the IPU strategy between 2022 and 2026. Thirdly, I'm very glad to inform this August House that the IPU Secretariat had taken up 37 parliaments, 37 nations for reporting and surveying as regards their status pertaining to the implementation of the IPU's decisions, recommendations, initiatives, and resolutions. Most of the parliaments, most of these 37 parliaments have done extremely well, and in the executive committee meeting, we also decided the list of the countries, the list of the parliaments which would be taken up for 2025 and 2026. The sixth point, my dear friends, a major aspect which emerged in the meeting pertained to the IPU membership and the situation in some of the nations. Many of the esteemed members of the executive committee expressed their concerns, deep concerns about the situations in some of the nations. Finally, we all know that the finance of any organization is the backbone of the setup of the organization. The financial position was discussed, and the draft consolidated budget of 2025 was discussed threadbare and approved by the members of the committee. The Secretary General also apprised the committee regarding the latest efforts of IPU to secure voluntary funding. Madam Axon is here. She is aware of the fact. Under her leadership, the discussions on 19 agenda items was held, and I must compliment, as the Vice President of the IPU, the efforts of the IPU, and I'm sure Mr. Dick will join me in this regard. The IPU has actually secured a lot of voluntary funding. Number 8, the committee did receive an update on the activities of IPU Task Force on the peaceful resolution of the war in Ukraine, the work with regard to the Middle East questions and other peace-building initiatives. Matters related to future inter-parliamentary meeting initiative in the areas of parliamentary democracy, the amendments in the IPU statutes and rules, and the need for coordination, cooperation between the IPU setup and the Association of the Secretary Generals was also discussed. As you would see, the committee in all its earnestness discussed 19 agenda items under the guidance of Madam Tulia Axon, and we successfully deliberated on the issues in an atmosphere of goodwill and bonhomie. My dear friends, just give me a couple of seconds. I conclude. I would definitely like to reiterate the combined responsibility of each one of us, 35 nations, 35 parliaments from the Asia-Pacific group, to ensure that the humanity moves towards peace and prosperity, that we create an ecosystem of goodwill, that we create a situation where every child is able to realize his potential, and that there is a world where there is no hunger, no war. In today's scenario, these do appear like daunting challenges. It's very difficult to conceptualize a world of that nature. These do appear as daunting challenges, but my dear friends, I can say with all conviction at my command that there can be no better time than this to fulfill these ambitions. Taking the cue from the overall topic or the subject of this 149th General Assembly of the IPU, I can say that the technology, I request Chairperson, sir, to give me just 1 minute. The technology which is breaking its own records time and again in creating nanochips with humongous processing powers. Artificial intelligence and machine learning constantly making life easier. The prospect of biotech and genomics bringing revolution in the health sector, and millions of people coming out of poverty and hunger. And this is the time when we really need to tell ourselves, the member parliaments of the Asia-Pacific group, that our years, our time is coming. We all need to work with feelings of solidarity in an atmosphere of bonhomie and goodwill, with tremendous level of optimism to ensure that all of us will play a leading role in creating a better world. I conclude with 3 lines: good, better, best, never let it rest, till your good is better, and your better best. We have to move from good to better and better to best. Thank you so much. And now I request Honourable Speaker Australia to supplement whatever I have said. Thank you.